Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is for the Vicki Boutin design team, and this week is actually a request. We had a few ladies that asked if there's any way that we can show projects that showcase the specialty paper, that's the vellum paper with the holographic gold and the pie charts from this color study collection. So I'm gonna give you an idea of what you can create with it. I'm sure that Nicole also used it, so this is one of the ideas. I'm gonna play with quite a bit of paper. So outside of the camera I played around with some ideas, and I'm actually gonna use the abstract paper. This is one of the ones from color study. I don't want to use a white background. I want to use something with color because I think the papers are so beautiful that we can use them for everything. So my idea is I want to use a piece of the vellum kind of to ground my layout, and then I'm going to fussy cut some of the shapes. So why I like the abstract paper because it has a grid and it has that pop of yellow. So I'm going to cover the yellow because it just makes the pie circles kind of stick out a little bit more. So once I put the vellum in place, I just mark where it's going to sit, and then I want to cover a little bit, not cover, but kind of haze some of the grid right where the picture is going to sit. So the best way is using some gesso. So I'm just applying some gesso with my palette, and then I'm just going to stretch it with my brayer. I want a very fine coat. I don't want something really heavy. I just want to haze the background. I don't want to lose it completely. So you're going to see that I use my fingers, and that just helps move around the paper. Sorry, not the paper, just the gesso around, just to make sure that I have that soft, kind of like a hazy look on the background. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I'm going to start working on the vellum. So I want to make sure that when I place my vellum down on the paper, I have quite a bit of those gold foil prints that come in the paper. So I'm gonna cut circles from the other side of that place. So I'm just gonna take my time, and if I cut, I'm gonna say maybe a third of the page, and then I'm gonna come back. I was very careful how I fussy cut them. I'll talk to you a little bit more after. So I'm going back to the layout just because I want to show you what I did with the background. I want to add a little bit of color. I just think that I need to add a little pop of color so that everything stands out. So I am using the gel crayons, and I like them because they go really light. And like I said, I just want a really soft color application. So I scribbled a little bit of the light blue and a little bit of the dark blue, light and dark, and just diluted them with a little bit of water. It becomes like watercolor, and I'm just literally gonna softly paint the part that we're added the gesso. I don't want something that's gonna stand out. I just want to haze the color on the background. I just want to give it a little bit of color, so it's gonna make everything that I put on top of it stand out. Simple as that. And the beauty of the gel crayon, especially when you have gesso, is that it's like butter. You can use your finger just to stretch it, to spread it. Totally different formulation from an art crayon, but beautiful. So then because I'm working with those pie charts, I want to bring some of the pie charts onto my background. For this, I am using the Hello stamp, and this is the one that has the pie charts. I think it doesn't have the florals, it has the pie charts, it has some stars. So I want to use that, and you're going to see that I'm going to use the gel crayons. Same way that we use our crayons, I'm just going to scribble on the gel crayon, spritz a little bit of water, so that's going to dilute the gel crayon, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp on my paper. And you're going to see that here, this one is probably one of the reasons why at the end I wanted to hide some of my background, and it's because when I mixed the colors, I wanted to deepen the pink, and I used a little bit of orange, and it became like mud. So not loving that one, but I'm gonna be true to the background, and I'm gonna add a few more of the stamp pie charts in this case. And because again, even though I'm diluting it, it's a very soft application. So right now it looks like more vibrant than what really it's gonna dry up to be. It dries really soft. So gel crayons are great when you want to go for a soft look on your background. If you want to deepen the color, you're gonna need to add more of the gel crayon. That's just a different formulation from the art crayon. Art crayons, you need just a little bit. to, you know, give you great results. Gel crayon, you need quite a bit to get the result, so just keep that in mind. So I'm using the same stamp set, and there's like a little asterisk, so I'm going to use that and just to add some pop of shine, just because I have the holographic look. So I'm using Vicki's metallic stamp set, and this has already been retired, but I still have it. I'm going to use the dark gold just to stamp some of the asterisks around the pie charts. Once I have them, I was debating whether I want to emboss them or not, and I decided to emboss them. That was a good and bad idea. I'm going to show you why. So I'm just adding a little bit of pink, I think it's called pink taffeta. This is from Wow embossing powder, and it has a little bit of glitter. So I'm just going to literally emboss just a little bit. It's not gonna be like really shiny. I just want to make sure that it stays in place. One of the reasons that I am embossing with Vicki's ink is because it's a pigment ink, so it holds the embossing powder, and like I said, I wanted a bit of shine. But what I didn't keep, I kind of didn't realize at the time. We've been through a lot of it this week in my house. We have no internet, so I'm completely off the web. Is that when I'm using just pattern paper, so when I use my heat gun and I already had mixed media, my paper buckled quite a bit. Not tons, but it buckled quite a bit. So my solution is I'm going to glue it back onto heavy cardstock, and for this I am using a foundation paper. So my first choice, I'm going to trim around a 1/2 inch from the left and the right hand side of my layout, and around a 3/4 inch from the bottom edge of my layout. I'm going to go ahead and use double-sided adhesive tape to glue it straight onto a piece of foundation paper. I don't want to use white cardstock. I need it to be really strong so that I can stretch. Think about stretching a canvas so that I can stretch my paper onto the layout. And I want it to be right at the top, so I have that frame forming kind of a U at the bottom of the layout. So again, you're gonna see, like I said, it's been like one thing after the other one. As I'm starting to use double-sided tape, it finishes on me, so I had to go back to the refills, find one, and I'm gonna cover quite a bit of the background because I want to make sure that I stretch it as much as I can, and quite a bit of the buckling is happening towards the bottom of the layout. So much is going to be, I'm going to ruffle the bottom edge, and pretty much the rest, there's going to be a few bumps, but it's not as much as it was before. So that's pretty much is going to stay like that, and I'm going to continue working on the page. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut the piece of vellum that's going to cover that yellow area from the abstract paper. So again, like I said, I make sure that I picked the area that had the most gold, think about a gold sparkle on it. And then to glue the vellum in place, I'm going to add double-sided tape just behind the pie chart so that I can hide, the tape. Once that's in place, now I'm going to start playing with quite a bit of layers of paper. So I pulled, this is the blue paper, is the line drawing paper, the B side. The pink with the orange hearts, that comes from the 6x8 paper pad, and the green one is the journal. That's the one with the yellow flowers on the A side, and the B side has the beautiful green on tone green stripe. So one of the things that I want to keep bringing onto my page is the layout. The vellum. So you're gonna see that when I cutted the circle, so going back what I was telling you before, is I make sure that I just didn't, I was careful to follow the line because it has a grid, the paper, and then has the circles on top of it. I was careful to follow the line of the grid until I hit the circle. That way I was able to use the straight lines of the grid to help me create a layer of paper behind my picture. And because I have all those circles, I just want to have a little peek of it. I wanted to include it on my little, it's going to be really a cluster of paper. After that, I'm just going to play with paper. Literally, I added a piece of ephemera because I just like the kind of file look that it had, and had all the colors from the collection. So I thought it was a great piece for the layers, and I'm just playing with the paper. I just want something that is going to give it some lift. So for that, I added a little bit of foam adhesive, but I wanted something that was going to bring all the colors that I have on the page. Once I have it in place, here's where I'm going to bring in all those fussy cut pie charts, and I just want to create the look as if they're falling from the piece of paper that I have on the top, I want to make sure they look like they're falling down. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover, if you see my the abstract paper, my apologies, the vellum paper, there's a circle that is only like a pie chart, is only half. So I'm going to make sure that I cover that because I want it to look like it's as if it is a full circle. And then I'm just going to go ahead, glue my piece of my picture, and then I'm gonna start playing with the circles. To glue the circles, the ones that are gonna be kind of slid into the picture, like as a layer in between, I'm gonna glue with a little bit of a liquid glue. But the other ones, because I don't want to show like the foam adhesive, my choice is always to have either a glue dot, or if you have those glue strips, I kind of roll them so they give you the dimension, and then I put it behind my circle right at the center, and that gives me the little bit of the lift that I'm looking for. So again, anything that goes, kind of like as if I want it to look as a layer or as a cluster, I'm gonna glue it straight onto the paper. Anything that is outside but I want to add dimension, I'm gonna add either a glue dot or a glue strip that I roll so it gives it that dimension. Simple as that. And like I said, you're gonna see that slowly it's gonna look as if the little circles are falling from the vellum. I'm also gonna add a few of those little circles, the smallest ones, onto the vellum part itself, just so that I have that dimension that I'm bringing to the bottom. And I'm gonna make sure that I place them in kind of in the empty spaces up there. And I'm gonna make sure also that I keep my circles right to the center of the page. I don't want to cover the entire page. Once that's in place, that's pretty much my layout. There's a lot going on with the circles. I don't want to hide them. I don't want to put much because I want to make sure that they are the focal point besides my picture. That's I think one of the reasons why I work with black and white photos a lot, because it actually doesn't compete with everything else. It actually works nicely with it. So now going back onto the layout, I'm gonna go ahead and work on a title, and for that I'm gonna use the puffy words. This picture here is Mother's Day. Again, we're in lockdown here in Toronto, so my sister came down and I told the kids, let's take a picture. That's my niece and my nephew, and they didn't want to smile because they had the mask, and I'm just take the picture, just smile through the mask. So I thought that Just Be You was a great title for this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add it right at the bottom right corner of the picture. Perfect place for it there. Once I have the wording, I'm gonna add 2 of the little puffy stickers, the little hearts that come in the same set. I just thought it had the same look, that gold kind of holographic look. So I'm gonna add them there. After that, just very little more that I'm gonna add. I'm gonna go into the cardstock stickers, just because I'm using that little tab right on the left hand side of the picture. I want to continue make it look like file folders, so I'm gonna add that one that says my favorite, and then the snapshot comes from the the sticker book, the same as the ones I'm just putting at the top of the vellum. I just want to make sure that I kind of zigzag all those those word phrases. And then because I want to bring more of the holographic look, I went into the chipboard sticker, and there's one this is little gold foil sentiment that says don't stress. I think it says do the best, don't regret, or something like that. So I'm just gonna use the don't stress and do your best, just to add some of that pop of gold. So you're gonna see that the color stickers kind of go on a diagonal from right to left, while the gold foil go from left to right. I'm backwards on this just because I'm looking at it. And just to finish all this, I'm gonna add some of the chipboard gold foil stars. My lines of journal are gonna be right underneath the title. And just to finish, I'm gonna add a few more of the little gold foil dots, and that's about it. I love how this turned out. I hope you try it. I hope it gives you an idea on how you can use the vellum from the collection. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, guys.